This is Earth, formed from stardust 4.5 billion years ago. It is our home, our history, and the only known planet in the universe with stable enough surface conditions suitable for life to develop, evolve, and thrive. It is a lonely existence against the dark backdrop of the vast cosmos. Earth is a fragile oasis, and the only one of its kind. And here we are, humanity, formed from that very same stardust. We are lucky enough to exist at this perfect moment in time, to have evolved a state of consciousness and become self-aware, giving us the ability to look back at the world from which we have emerged and to question our very existence. Let's imagine for a moment that we are not alone. Let's imagine the Earth from the perspective of an outside observer. This observer is part of a highly advanced civilization and is equipped with the technology capable of long-distance space travel. But the universe is vast, with galaxies, stars, and life-harboring planets scattered throughout in their trillions, and the observer is only interested in advancing life forms such as our own. The observer is searching for life on planets beyond their home in an effort to warn inhabitants of a lurking danger. Throughout the eons, the observer has noticed a common characteristic of advancing civilizations. They have noticed that advancing civilizations have a habit of scarring their world. They see their planet as a resource to be used for their own advancement and for profit, without realizing that they are part of a global ecosystem that enables their continued existence. Sadly, many will succumb to this global pillaging of resources through the destruction of forests, poisoning of oceans, and polluting of atmospheres, all of which reside in life forms are dependent upon for survival. The effect on biodiversity is profound, as native plants and animals die out and ecosystems undergo significant change, until the entire planetary system reaches a tipping point before collapsing, turning the once thriving world into a desolate wasteland, no longer able to support life. From a distance, to the observer, the Earth looks promising. It is comprised of an abundance of life-enabling chemicals and orbits its star at the perfect distance, allowing for an ocean of liquid water to form, a vital component for life to thrive. To be certain the Earth is a planet of interest, the observer deploys a small probe to traverse the galaxy and come to rest on its surface. The probe sits and listens for signs of an advancing civilization. It listens by detecting small dust particles that are produced by burning fossil fuels, a sure sign that a civilization is present and existing unsustainably. Tuned In is the title of this installation that uses a process called sonification to listen to pollution caused by burning fossil fuels and translating it into sound. It follows the narrative of the observer finding their way to Earth to warn our species about the fate of our planet if we were to continue to live in an unsustainable way, a fate of which the observer has become all too familiar with of civilizations like ours. First, the observer sends a probe to gather and transmit data to a receiver fitted within the observer's special helmet. The observer listens in on Earth for signs that its inhabitants are on a dangerous trajectory. When it is established that we most certainly are, the observer makes their way here to warn us. What you have been hearing in the background throughout this film is the sonification of that data as it is heard by the observer. What the observer is listening for, and what the probe detects, is dangerous particulate matter in the atmosphere that is 2.5 and 10 micrometers in diameter. Tiny particles in the air, thinner than a human hair. They can be damaging to the human respiratory system when breathed in and have an effect on the health of all species. A sensor fitted within the probe measures the mass concentration of these particles within a volume of space. A high and fluctuating concentration can be an indication of the presence of advancing life forms, because particles of this size are often caused by the burning of fuels associated with capitalist industry, where a planet's resources are extracted for profit, as well as the burning of fossil fuels for transportation vehicles. A primitive way to travel in the eyes of the observer. These vehicles require roads, which come at the expense of vegetation and natural habitat through land clearing. The particles generated from tyre wear and vehicle exhaust can poison waterways and affect insect populations, which disrupt biodiversity and cause irreparable damage to ecosystems. The vehicles require combustion engines to move. The process that takes place within an engine that converts fuel into kinetic energy, which allows a vehicle to move, is loud. The noise generated resides in the lower and sub-frequency ranges of human hearing. With many vehicles using the roads at any given time, this collective noise is multiplied and can interfere with the acoustic ecology of a natural environment, disrupting the natural rhythms of native fauna. It is another sign of an advancing civilization departing from their place within the natural ecosystem of their planet. The probe is therefore also equipped with a microphone sensor to specifically detect noise pollution at the lower frequency range associated with land vehicles using combustion engines and polluting the planet. Tuned in is an opportunity for people to encounter pollution in a new, unusual, and interesting way through their sense of hearing. It is a real-time sonic composition and performance that utilizes fluctuations of particle matter levels in the surrounding atmosphere and amplitude levels of noise pollution to modulate synthetic sounds. The result is a dramatic, expressive, and unique listening experience that provides some insight into the surrounding hidden world. Participants can listen to the changes in the sound from the observer's helmet sculpture in the sculpture park, which receives a real-time FM radio transmission of the live data sonification from the nearby probe unit containing the sensors, computer, and radio transmitter. Live updates of particulate matter levels are also available for viewing on the Tuned In website, along with a live stream of the sonification. We hope that this installation will inspire people to stop and consider the impact that humans have had on this beautiful planet and its inhabitants, and realise that we are part of a fragile ecosystem that is worth nurturing. We hope that we can inspire people to work together to create a sustainable way of life that will benefit ourselves and the future generations of all species. The alarm is sounding. The time for change is now. Like the observer in our story, will you tune in and listen?